Hello, my fellow coworkers. Alice and I are glad to be back from a work trip to Nairobi. We didn't encounter any lions, unfortunately. However, we did see some zebras. Anyways, that's not really the point. Today we're going to tell you guys about our experience as urban planning experts in the heart of the least urbanized continent that has yet the highest rate of urbanization worldwide. Through our PowerPoint, we wanted to give you an honest assessment of the impact urban development had and still has on the growing capital of Kenya. So let's get started.
Take a look at this first photo we shot with our drone. It shows the thin limitation between Nairobi's biggest slum, Kibera, and the city's national park. What's astounding is that the park is only 6 miles from the city centre, but both weren't so tightly close if you look at pictures from a few decades ago. Now, the slum is really on the edge of the parkland, and we might be worried about the city eating away nature. This photo is starting to give you an idea about the speed at which Nairobi is spreading, and more particularly its slums.
Let's move on to the second picture. Here's a striking example of what it's like to live as a wild animal within the Kenyan savanna while experiencing urban sprawl. What's most shocking about this image to me is the crushing proximity between two completely different worlds that shouldn't be related in any way. It looks like the skyscrapers are taking over the wild, destroying everything in their path. In the long run, urban sprawl will most definitely take a bigger toll than we think on the natural areas and its surroundings.
There is another aspect to these contrasts, and that is within the city itself. This shot really shows inequality between the rich and the poor citizens. The richer ones get to live in residential areas like the gated communities we see in the United States. When we think of Nairobi, we do envision the skyscrapers, but the residential communities are often overlooked or unknown. Meanwhile, the slum's inhabitants live in horrible conditions just on the other side of the fence. The division is unbelievably sharp, and it almost resembles a border. I'm sure we can all agree that one city should not be as parted as Nairobi so distinctly is.
So this one was taken from above by a drone at the border, splitting up two parts of the town. The population is inevitably divided on many levels. If we focus on the social and economical aspects, the gap is even more noticeable. On one hand, there's lush vegetation, pools have been built everywhere, there's a luxurious hotel and all the facilities that come along. On the other hand, we shift to a way less visually pleasing landscape. Here's the Nairobian enormous slum, Kibera, ruled by extreme poverty and a terrible lack of staple necessities. Both these photos efficiently show the hidden side of urban growth. Nairobi has become a city of contrast.
Let's move on to another major problem: water supply. This heartbreaking picture was once again taken in Kibera, where a very high percentage of residents do not have access to clean water or a sewage system. In the area, it is very common to have open sewers pass through villages, only this evidently causes a mountain of problems. People don't have drinking water, they don't have sanitation facilities, which leads to potential health problems. The open sewer mixes clean water with the murky water from the sewers, and so on. These exceedingly unhygienic conditions are linked with urban development. As the city grows, so do the issues when they are not taken care of.
Yes, clean and safe water supply is a sensitive topic when we talk about the Kibera shanty town. At least, it used to be. Kennedy Odede, a slum's ex-resident who directly suffered from the consequences of this lingering problem, decided to make things change. He's the creator of the life-saving organization called Shufco, actively working hard to provide the inhabitants from poor areas with health care and drinkable water since 2004. These blue pipes you can see right here have been installed by the association above the slum and carry safe and affordable water. Odede obviously had trouble putting this project into effect, although his will to help others never faded.
If Kennedy Odede had difficulties with his project, it's because of the presence of what they call water cartels. Indeed, some people see the water supply problem as a way to make money, and they do that by selling water to the slums inhabitants. However, the water they sell at very expensive prices is actually still unsafe and dirty. This water mafia ruled over Kibera before Shofko's intervention and used brutal methods towards competition. But by making a deal with the water mafia, Shofko's creator got peace for just a small amount of money. Progress has been made, but the installment of facilities would greatly help the population for the future.
In order to fight against the numerous challenges generated by urban sprawl, the slums dwellers eventually found a way to free themselves from those endangering struggles. As a matter of fact, 44% of Nairobi's citizens are undernourished. Also, there has been a 150% increase in staple food prices recently. This indeed led to malnutrition and hunger among Kibera's population, who were not ready to give in so easily. They began to implant an urban farm within the shanty town that would allow them to harvest their own sustainable and healthy food. This teen, named Amala, was kind enough to pose in the field she's in charge of. She also told us she has great hopes for the future of her people.
So, we saw that most of the trouble regarding Nairobi's urban sprawl lies within the slums, which are of course the neglected areas. Issues like clean water, food supply and healthcare are critical and desperately need attention as well as action. Though the residents seem to fight their way through, bigger entities need to step in order to ensure their safety. The endangerment of wildlife is also an important topic concerning urban developments in Nairobi. Thank you for listening to our reports. I'm getting a bit emotional by now because this trip truly made us realize that we are extremely privileged and we should not take what we have for granted. Thank you.